Welcome to CBMC Barrie's online forum, an opportunity to encourage and inspire you in the business marketplace and to explore what Jesus can do in your life and in your business. I am so excited to introduce to you today a special guest, my friend Philip Yan. He's the director of the Center for Redemptive Entrepreneurship at Tyndale University. Stay tuned. You are going to love his message today.
Hello everyone, so glad to be here today to share with you something about my faith journey and then I can talk a little bit about how faith journey informed me and helped me to grow into the work that I'm involved in right now. I am a fourth generation Christian. My great-grandfather was a first generation pastor in China where he started church and a Christian school after he believed into Christ, with the missionaries in China. When I grew up, I started going to church because of that. My grandmother always took me to church. But in my childhood, there was a long period of time that I feel dark. Dark in a sense that I enjoy going to church on Sunday because there's a time that it gives me peace, give me joy, meet some good friends. But the other day, it feels like Sunday and the weekdays are day and nights. I feel like that I was involved with a lot of things that I know that I shouldn't do. And in fact, I feel guilty about it and I pray for it, but I cannot shake out from the darkness that I faced when I was a kid. So every Sunday I go to church, I felt like that I am the wolf putting on a sheep skin and go to church and enjoyed it, but then I go home, still feel broken. Something was missing. In my life, journey with that for a long period of time, I'm so glad that God finally found a way to break through this through different peoples, my teachers, my mentors, Sunday school teachers, and many people from the church community helping me journey along different way and helping me to see Christ in the first-hand experience. I remember finishing my primary school in Hong Kong, that I had a chance to go to a retreat, and it was there that a teacher found me when I was hiding myself. That she took me to a place and shared with me that she said, "You know a lot of God and you know a lot of Bible, but Jesus never come to your life. And do you know that Jesus come to your life, you can be changed, your burden can be solved." Imagine a kid at the time hearing that, for some reason with great relief. And it was there in that camp that I commit my life to God. Life actually is not that rosy afterward, because become a Christians, inviting Jesus to my life, I felt that there is always ups and downs. And in fact, I felt more challenged than ever that the next 2 years I was struggled, and sometimes I feel I'm close to God. But some of the time I feel that I was so far and fall even deeper into the darkness. 2 years later, gone through lots of up and down, and finally I found in the middle of the brokenness, all the things that still seems to crumble down. And here again that I found God that is looking for me and help me to starting a new journey. And I would rededicate my life to God. And I said to God that if I have a chance to make these changes with your power, I would dedicate my life to you entirely. Whatever you want me to do, my life is yours. And that was the beginning of my new journey. And that is how I come to the Lord in person. Coming to the Lord was a joyful experience. And there was a time that I dedicated my life. But then the next question is, so what happened to my life? Like, how do I follow God? I actually had no clue. I just doing, the basic Christian thing, and hopefully things will come up. And certainly it is. I remember one summer that I really don't know what I'm going to do in this summer. I was high school students, and a pastor come to me with trust, and he believed in me in some way, that he came to me and said, Philip, I think you've been doing a lot of doodling, and you have a lot of interesting thinking, and I believe that you might be considering doing design, that the future of church need a lot of design. And I have no idea what design means at the time. And he said, my seminary has a summer program that is inviting 10 different designers and come to talk about this topic. Would you like to join? Well, as a little kid, the last thing I want is to go to school in summer. But I come up with some kind of challenge that I think, no, I can't go, because first of all, I can't afford it. Secondly, it is meant for high school graduate, and I'm still in high school. You know what the pastor said? The pastor said, well, I think it would be beneficial to you. So if you want to go, I'm willing to pay half. Secondly, he said, well, I mean, it's not a credit course. I'm sure I can talk to seminary to allow you to go in without that requirement. As a pastor says so, I just have to go along, and he's so generous. Boy, that summer, that program changed my life, because it was there that I discovered, wow, this is a very interesting stuff. I mean, I see hope that in the future, communication design is really a big part of the church at the time. That's my world. So end up that actually helped me to design on the whole long journey of studying design back in Hong Kong, and then later on came to Canada to study design again. Now, after the design school, I said, I think I need to equip myself better to serve God. So I came to OTS, well, now it's called Tyndale Seminary, to study, and with the focus of just equipping myself. I think that's actually important for Christians, I think. So since I'm here, I was asking God, I said, wow, it is a great opportunity for me to really think through my faith. If it is your will, maybe this is a time for you to call me into full-time pastoral ministries. I thought that was a good prayer, and I prayed for a while, and later on I find out that God clearly told me that that's not His plan. He's actually gave me a clear indication that He said, I already called you. I called you to be a designer, and why are you asking again? Okay, I still have the notions of being a pastor is a better, more honoring to God than being a designer. But if that's what God called me to do, that's what I'm going to follow. So after OTS, I went back to the marketplace, and I started to be a designer. And career growth, and it was a lot of learning, and I keep learning. And later on, I start my own company. The question is still in my mind, how do I live out the faith? So I serve in a church on young adult ministries, and I am finding way to be, a Christian, good Christian leaders in church, and I'm trying to figure out is the best way that I can serve God. Until later on, that I discover there are more to it. Another journey of my career life is I starting to looking into creating my own company after being working as a design director for other companies. Well, I mean, just like many other people, we have a wrong perception and saying that, I mean, if I'm working 70 hours for somebody else, why can't I invest the 70 hours to build something for myself? That was the reason I started my company. I mean, I always thought that I would start a company, but that was the motive. And life actually proved me wrong. That's not the case, because yes, you work 70 hours, and you work more than 70 hours, because life never stops. But anyway, there's something changed, something happened in that particular journey. It was 2008, my wife and I met a friend. His name is David, and he was 27 years old at the time, and he was a homeless for more than 20 years. We journeyed with him for a little bit and actually wonder, wow, it is so hard to help a person to come out from that challenging life to find a sustainable living and flourishing. And it's not easy. So all of a sudden I have a question. What can we do instead of only finding a way to solve that problem after the result? What can we do to help people not going down that path? Well, there was a question that prompted me to talk to different people, and finally God gave me opportunity to start my first social enterprise. Is knowing that there are many people on the street are in the category of former prisoner, that they come out from prisons and not able to find jobs. In fact, I realized that people who are in that category, the employment rate is less than 5%. So we came out and talked to different people and got an opportunity, being invited to join Halfway Home to create that program, and end up we create a coffee business and using that to support a program that is for employment. The program that we create actually deal with the issues. We were able to solve that by raising the employment rate from less than 5% to 64% in the first year. That was like a great experience, and even Corrections Canada talked about it and recorded and shared that story in the section in the sector. And I start to continue that journey, forming another company, a recycling company, to recycle things that nobody recycle in the world, but in the same time using that to help people come to find jobs who have difficulty finding jobs, who recovering from mental health, have criminal record, or they have a physical disability. Those are the people that we hire and help them work around them and give them job opportunities. Meanwhile, the business is designed to recycle VHS tapes, something that we have billions of them in Ontario, and there's no recycling program, not only here, but there's no program like that in the world. So we were able to find that and create that opportunity to solve that issues. In the middle of doing all of these, I find that God's footprint everywhere in my journey. I see God guiding me, and we're praying for it, and I see the result. Now, all of a sudden, the problem comes is I am also a church leader, and all of a sudden I find that what I do on social enterprise, on business, that I see God's footprint is not considered a mission in the church. It is considered my personal passions. And I wonder, why is that? Why is divisions of God's mission? Because it is in the church framework, in a Christian community, but when it is not, is come down to personal passions. That's got me thinking about what is faith has to do with work. Or another question is better, is what's work has to do with faith? And there's so much that we can learn from it. And through that journey, I'm starting to see the big divide of sacred-secular divide that we're facing. I start to realize that we are thinking about equipping Christians to do God's mission based on Ephesians 4 is really thinking about the church missions only. But in reality, we know that it is about all the mission that God entrusted us to do. And I start to wonder, how can church reach out to the people outside in the society? Because right now, the prerequisite is we invite people to come to our church so that they can find Jesus. Is that true? Is that the only way to do it? Jesus actually went to the marketplace and talked to people. And how can we do that today? It was about 4 or 5 years ago. I start to unpack all the things that I learned from being a business owner, being a social entrepreneur, and put it all together and wonder about how that worked in my following God, my faith journey. And these are the few things that I learned, and I want to share with you. One is I learned that we have a mandate not only to make disciples, we also have a great commandment that we need to love people, our neighbors. And we also have another original mandate of humankind that we are here to steward the world, that we need to redeem the brokenness of this world. And everything in the world is under our care. Now, what is the better way to solve some of the problem in this world? We know that that is not quite the system that easy for church to do. But in fact, I learned one thing is the world has been shaping more by innovation today and entrepreneurship. There are so many people creating new technology, innovative thinking, or disruptive technology. All of these are changing everything that we do. They change a lot more than church today. We're always behind the culture. We're always looking at the culture in front of us and saying that, is that a good one or is that a bad one? What do we do with these culture? We haven't quite think a lot about what can we do to build new culture so that we are not in behind the culture, but we are in the forefront of the culture. Entrepreneurship has a role for that. And in fact, I believe church has a role for that as well. So entrepreneurs is the one who innovate, who look at the gap, look at the challenge in the society and finding good way to fill the gap, to make changes. Churches is the one who equip the saints so that they find meaning of the work that they do and equip them, encourage them, and pray for them to make all these changes. That's a chain reactions. And I wonder, what can we do to make that cultural shifts within our community? I have been in young adult ministry for a very long time. One thing that I know is we all experience young adults leaving church. More than 60%, actually in reality, a lot of people felt that it's actually 80% of the young adults leaving church or already left church. Interesting enough is that the same group of people, they're millennial, Gen Z, the very same group of people, by statistics, 64% of them want to start a business, if there's help. Now, if you're thinking about engaging faith for the young adult, true that we might not able to engage them inside the church because they're not there. But I don't believe that they're leaving faith, they're leaving just the environment. And there's still chance for us to journey with them in faith. what is the best way if we are able to journey with them on the thinking of innovations, entrepreneurships, and creating things, solving things. They want actions. They want to find a way to deal with the brokenness that they see in their own world. And it is an opportunity for us to journey with them. Let me just give you some statistics how important it is in Canada. There are 10% of the populations in Canada consider themselves entrepreneurs. In actual fact, it's 3.5 million, that is by statistics. We estimate about 630,000 Christian entrepreneurs in our nations. Wow, that's 18% of all of them. And thinking about how many churches do we have in Canada, all it takes is the 3% of these Christian entrepreneurs that think their work is missional and redemptive and able to use that network and the community and the ecosystem to do God's work. Well, I don't mean to say do God's work by adding the scriptures on the box and packaging, starting the Bible study group in the company. Those are great too. But most importantly is that they are shaping the godly culture. They are the one who influence the supply chains, the staff, the customers, all of those. That's great impact. And all we need is the 3% of the Christian entrepreneurs to live like that. You know, that number will match the number of churches that we have in Canada. And that was the reason that we think that we need to create a creative engine to help entrepreneurs, particularly the emerging one, to really start their journey of the entrepreneurship with discipleship at the core and thinking through what they want to build, what they want to change, is building new culture and solving the issues in this world. Sometimes it's brokenness, sometimes it's inefficiency, and what we can do to make the world a better place. And along the way, that give us the permissions and opportunity to share the reason and the approach that we do is different is because of Christ in our heart. So I got a chance, an opportunity that now I am the director of the Center for Redemptive Entrepreneurship. We want to find a way to equip the emerging generations to start business with that missions in mind. And it is new. I would love to invite you, for anyone who are in entrepreneurship and thinking along the way, to be part of this journey. Because this is not a program. It is not just education. It is really a movement that we all need to create together, and everybody is a part of it. I feel privileged that my journey, from my faith journey, from career now to entrepreneurship, to now become a champion for the redemptive entrepreneurship movement. And I think this is something that is open new doors to advance the gospel. And I want to invite you along.
Phil, that was so incredible. Thank you for that inspiration. You know, you really helped us to think about the dichotomy between faith and work, ministry, the marketplace, the sacred and the secular. But what brings all of that together? The Creator, who brings us forth with such creative abilities. Thank you so much for this inspiration, Philip. So I would like to invite you, now that we've heard this story and this challenge, I would like you to come online to connect with us for our next networking forum, where we get to unpack this and have a little bit more of a discussion about this and what it means to you personally.